Now for MM3, MM3 says with corporation taxes and personal taxes. So corporation as well as personal taxes. So we can say this. Can say this. MM argued that unlevered farm shall be affected by both corporation and personal taxes on stock. Personal taxes on stock, stroke equity. While a levered farm will also pay personal taxes on debt. Personal taxes on debt. So personal taxes on debt, we can call it TD. And the personal taxes on stock or equity, we call it TS. And by the under MM3, the examiner just wants us to understand how to differentiate the values, the value of the levered and the value of unlevered. Huko hakuna maneno ya WSCC. So mwambie kuwa value of the levered farm equals to value of equity. Tuanze na unlevered, sorry. Value of unlevered farm equals to value of equity of unlevered. Maybe I can share just, let me just share this one. We can see the formula.
Yes.
Great. So that is how to get the value of the value of unlevered farm under MM3. So the value of the unlevered farm is the value of equity of the unlevered farm. And how do we get the value of equity? It's just an extension of MM2. Ni vile, let me explain. If the farm has no debt, it will pay corporation tax and it will also pay tax on debt, tax on stock. Why stock? Because the company cannot operate without equity. So italipa the corporation tax. So EBIT adjust for corporation tax, also adjust for tax on stock, and we divide by the cost of equity. It's more or less very close to KE. It's very close to MM2. Can see MM2. It was EBIT adjusted for tax because MM2 only pay corporation tax alone. But because we also have the personal tax on stock, tunaiongeza hapa mbele. Then I hope hiyo tumeichora. Then the value of the levered farm is the value of unlevered farm plus the tax shield on total debt. Kama to MM2. But how to calculate the tax shield on total debt is a little bit different in our case now. Tax shield on total debt is the value of debt into 1 This is 1 minus 1 minus the T. T is corporation tax. Then 1 minus the TS, tax on stock. Then divide this one. Look where we are dividing. Huku mbele peke yake. 1 minus the tax on debt. So that is that is MM3, as simple as that. Huko hataki they don't even bother to ask us to do the WSCC. It's not part of what you're required to know. Great. Now, it has never been tested in our current past papers, but I know I'm trying to check it if I can get it. I'll look for it. In the meantime, as we look for a question on that, let's also talk about MM4 or make a conclusion. Now, by the way, can we have the formula of VL? So that one, it therefore means that to get value of the delivered farm, we shall take value of undelivered farm plus the tax shield on total debt, which is the VD, into 1 minus, so you have 1 minus the corporation tax. Then you also have 1 minus the tax on stock. And we divide that one by 1 minus the tax on what? Tax on debt. Hope that English makes some sense. Just make sure we are dividing all these. I don't know how to put this one. It's okay, hiyo inaonekana. So let's talk about MM4. Ndio tuende tufanye maswali. Penye na kunyorosha unauliza. Before MM4, let's conclude. Sorry for that. Conclusion. Conclusion. Then we say, under MM4, debt increases the value. Debt increases the value and WSCC and debt increases the value of the farm and reduces its WSCC. Debt increases the value of the farm and reduces its WSCC. Hence, capital structure financing decisions are relevant. Capital structure financing decisions are relevant. So I'm sharing a question on in our past papers, in our group, sorry. So that we can have it as an illustration. So the latest one was tested in corporate finance. So you can just have it as an illustration so that you understand what it's all about. Now there we are. I hope we can still see the question. Swali inaonekana.
Yes.
Great. Ilitestiwa August 2022, but the corporate finance. So let's just have the question. Then the concept is the same. So this is August 2022 question 2C. So we are told that Vibe Limited has earnings before interest and tax of 2 million and a 30% tax rate. The required rate of return on equity in the absence of leverage is 14%. Remember, leverage is debt. So the cost of capital in absence of debt, that is the cost of capital of unlevered farm. So the WSC of the unlevered farm is 14%. Then required, in absence of personal taxes, determine the value of the company in world with no debt. Then of course, with shilling 6 million in debt. Great. So they want us to get the value of the unlevered farm and the value of the levered farm. So part one is asking about MM2, if we can recall. And we know that value of unlevered farm equals to what? Value of equity of unlevered, which equals to, you remember EBIT? EBIT we adjust for what? We adjust for tax. And everything we divide by what? The cost of equity of unlevered. Great. Then of course, do we have our EBIT from the question? We're told EBIT is 2 million. Corporation tax is 30%. Cost of capital in absence of taxes is 14%. So 2 adjusted for tax, divide by 0.14. That is 2 million. 2 million into 1 minus 0.7. Sorry. Then everything we divide by 0.14, giving us how much?
Is it 1 minus 0.7 or 1 minus 0.3?
Sorry, 1 minus 0.3. One minus 0.3 or simply 0.7. So it's giving us 2 times 0.7 over 0.14.
It's 10%. 10 million.
10 million. So that is the value of the unlevered farm. Then you know that under MM2 again, the value of the levered farm equals to that value of unlevered. We add the value of debt times what? Times the tax rate. So the value of unlevered is 10. Then we add debt was of how much?
6 million.
6 million debt. So plus 6 times 0.3 tax on debt. So this 10 plus 1.8.
11.8.
So there we go. So that is the first 2 marks. With no debt and with 6 million of debt. Now, the second part of the question, with reference to C above, assume that personal as well as corporate taxes now exist. Now that one becomes MM3. The marginal personal tax rate on common stock is 25%. So that is our TS tax on stock. And the marginal personal taxes on debt is 30%. So determine the value of the farm with no debt and with 6 million in debt. So TS is 25%, TD is 30%. So for the Roman 2, just to summarize, the tax on stock, we are seeing 25%, and on debt is 30%. 25%, and the tax on debt, 30%. So they want us to get the value of the farm with no debt. Because now here, we know that it's now talking about MM3. And under MM3, the value of the unlevered farm, which is the same as the value of equity, shall be equals to EBIT. We adjust for the corporation tax, and we also adjust for the tax on stock. And all that we divide by what? the cost of equity of unlevered, which I believe is the same as the WSEC. So our EBIT was 2 million. Can I do 1 minus 0.3? Then I have 1 minus, is it 0.25, the tax on stock? 0.25. Then everything we divide by cost of equity, was it 14%? 0.14.
Yes. So we get our answer. Two times 0.7 times 0.75 divided by 0.14. 7.5.
7.5 million. So that is for the unlevered farm. Then when we go to the levered, value of the levered farm, equals to value of unlevered plus the tax shield on total debt. How do you get the tax shield on total debt? VD into one minus the corporation tax then we have 1 minus the tax on stock, and I divide by, let me put it down here. So I divide by 1 minus the tax on debt. Great. So let's see if we have everything that we need. I believe we do. So value of unlevered is 7.5 million plus debt is of 6 million, right?
Yes.
So 6 into 1 minus corporation tax. Can I do 0.7? Okay. 1 minus 0.3 plus open.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
So 1 minus, I think your hello haikuwa yetu. 0.25. And this one we divide everything by 1 minus tax on debt. Tax on debt was also 30%. Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the corporation tax. So it's also 30% coincidentally. So 1 minus 0.3. So unafinya kwa calc kuona unapata ngapi?
$9 million.
9 million.
Yes.
So there we go. So it's confirming what we just, our conclusion was that debt increases the value of the farm. So under MM3, before debt, the farm was valued at 7.5 million. When you bring in debt, now the farm is valued at 9 million. That's why you're saying the capital structure financing decisions are relevant. It's just that way. Can we go to MM4 now?
Question.
Okay.
We on the as we divide by 0.7, are we dividing before multiplying the 6 million by the taxes?
As we divide
Or
by,
we divide
this
by
one.
yeah. Do we
6
divide the
million is
1.3?
6 million is outside. Let me go back to the original formula for that. The
Okay.
original formula is here.
Ah,
So 6 million is outside. Wow, na hapa tuweka 1. Kuna vile tumenyoroshwa kiasi. Hapa ndani kuna 1. Sorry for that. So hapa there's a 1 somewhere. I don't know if you've seen that. There's a 1 somewhere.
1 minus the bigger bracket. That's
Yes.
one.
Yes. So I don't know if guys put, sijui kama watu walieka hiyo 1.
Nilieka.
Sawa, thank you. Masomo ya gumbaru hii. Masomo ya digital. Yeah, anyway, I think that is okay. So let's highlight MM4 so that tumalizane na capital structure theories. So MM4 talks about with corporation taxes and financial distress costs. With corporation taxes and financial distress costs. Then we say it is an extension. It is an extension of MM2, sorry. An extension of MM2 with corporation taxes. It's simply an extension of MM2 with corporation taxes. Then you say a levered farm will be affected by financial distress costs. Will be affected by financial distress costs. Due to the effect of debt. Due to the effect of debt. Great. Then you say financial distress costs. Financial distress costs arises in 2 forms. i.e. Number one, we have agency costs. And number two, bankruptcy. Bankruptcy costs. Then you can say agency costs are costs incurred in an agency relationship. Agency costs are costs incurred in an agency relationship to minimize the possible conflicts. Costs incurred in an agency relationship to minimize the possible conflicts between the agent and the principal. Minimize the possible conflicts between the agent and the principal, such as salaries and wages. So you have salaries and wages. You need to pay your managers for managing that debt. Security costs. Security costs. You need to ensure that your collateral is well taken care of. So by bringing in debt, you'll have to incur some agency costs. So you have management fee, compliance costs, so compliance costs, you may need to have some audited accounts, so you'll have to pay some professional fees, the audit fee. So all those costs, those are the agency costs, just to try and eliminate the conflict between you and those people who gave you the debt. Great. Then you can skip one line, alafu useme bankruptcy costs are incurred by a firm. Bankruptcy costs are incurred by a firm experiencing financial difficulties. Are incurred by a firm experiencing financial difficulties. And can either be direct or indirect. It can either be direct or indirect costs. The next you say, direct bankruptcy costs include direct bankruptcy costs include high interest rates, associated with additional financing. You're experiencing financial difficulties, you go in for some additional loans, you'll pay more interest. That's a direct cost. Comma. Can even have flotation costs, flotation stroke issue costs. Stroke issue costs of raising funds through debt. Or just say of raising funds, that's enough. etc. Then indirect bankruptcy costs include, we have litigation costs. You're experiencing some financial difficulties, creditors wanakushtaki, indirectly you have to pay some lawyers to safeguard your, to argue out for you on your behalf. So you have the litigation costs, can even have loss of goodwill, loss of good credit rating, etc. Great. Then you can say, can skip one line, then you say, under MM4, value of unlevered firm equals value of equity of unlevered firm, which equals to EBIT 1 minus T, everything divided by cost of equity of unlevered. For information, under MM4, unlevered firm ni sawa na MM2. I believe this one, maybe for your own sake, can just say it is similar to MM2. Think it's the same as MM2. Tofauti inakuwa tu, when the firm now becomes levered, that's when the financial distress costs now come in. If it's not levered, there are no financial distress costs. Great. Then value of the levered firm equals value of unlevered plus, of course, tax shield on total debt, that is value of debt, times tax rate, as same as MM2. But here shall have to subtract present value of expected future financial distress costs. Just use the initials first of all, alafu tunataka kuidefine. So of course, where the present value of expected future financial distress costs. So that one equals, now you can put it in full. Present value of expected future financial distress costs. And of course, to get the present value of expected future financial distress costs, we take the present value of future financial distress costs, we multiply by the probability. The difference between these and these is that hii iko na E for the word expected. Ni kama tu vile tunapata expected return. So the present value of future financial distress costs times the probability. And for information, E utapewa na probabilities pia utapewa. So it's just a matter of applying. And that's why we said MM4 is simply an extension of MM2. And the farm is unlevered, everything like MM2. Now when the farm is levered, we start with MM2, then we less the present value of expected future financial distress costs. Unless kama kuna swali, we can check the past paper. Kazi ya capital structure theories iko kwa MM2. Zingine zote ziko very direct. Let's check the past paper. Somewhere I think in 2019, yeah, this 2021. Great. So this question 5 boy, question 3 boy, sorry, of May 2021. May 2021, question 3B. So part 1 is about mergers, the corporate restructuring. So let's concentrate on part B. Where we are told that Bamboo Limited is currently an unlevered farm. So currently the farm has no debt. The farm is expected to generate a constant operating profit of 20 million per annum in perpetuity. So that one gives us the EBIT. The farm's current market value is 80 million. Remember, currently it's unlevered. So the market value of the farm will be the same as the market value of its equity. Good. The management is considering undertaking an expansion activity by use of debt financing. The firm's financial analysts have estimated that the present value of any future financial distress costs is 8 million. Naona tumepewa the PVFFDC, present value of future financial distress costs 8 million. However, the probability of distress would increase with leverage according to the following schedule. So debt equal 2.5, probability ni 0.00, pre-tax cost of debt tuko nayo. For the first 2 marks, the current cost of equity and WSEC of the firm. Now, kumbuka, currently the firm is unlevered. And we know that they wanted us to get the cost of equity. So cost of equity of unlevered firm equals to, remember EBIT? Adjusted for tax. Then everything we divide by what? The value of equity. Right? So do we have our EBIT? 20 million. So our EBIT is 20 million. Corporation tax is 30%. Value of the farm is 80 million. So 20 adjusted for tax over 80. So you're having 20 million, 1 minus 0.3, and everything we divide by, is it 80? Then of course, remember to make it a percentage. So as a percentage, 20 times 0.7 over 80, 14 over 80.
17.5.
Sorry?
17.5.
17.5%. That is our cost of equity for the unlevered farm. Alafu ametaka pia to calculate WSEC. So you just tell him that work of the unlevered farm equals to what? Cost of equity of unlevered, which equals to 17.5%. As simple as that, and we get that answer. So that covers part A. Now part B. Part B, we are told, using the pure, so cost of equity and WSC 2 marks, we are good to go. So using the pure Modigliani and Miller, with tax model, determine the optimal level of debt. That's hapo number 2, part 2 of that question, they're not asking about MM4, they're asking about MM2 with tax model, not with tax and financial distress. Financial distress iko kwa part 3. So determine the optimal level of debt. So where debt is involved, now we think of MM. We think of levered, sorry. So very simple. So look at the value of debt. Then we look at the value of the levered farm, which equals to value of unlevered plus what? The value of debt times tax rate. So the figures are in millions of shillings. Can also have this one here in millions of shillings. So debt ya kwanza ni 2.5. 2.5, we have 5, 7.5. So acha tu copy na kupaste kwanza. 2.5, 5, 7.5. The next one is 10, 12.5, 15, 20. So you have 10, 12.5, 15, and 20. Great. So zikiwa hivyo, so the value of the delivered farm, the value of undelivered farm was 80. 80. So it becomes 80 plus the value of debt, which is 2.5 times 0.3. So which equals to?
$80.75.
80.75. Can't be
Yes.
0.75. 80 plus this. Hakikisha it is your indo in affect wana tax peke yake. So it's 2.5 times 0.3 then plus 80.
2.5 times 0.3 is 0.75.
So that is 80.75.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So ya pili, the value of undelivered farm was 80 plus 5 times 0.3. So this is what
81.5.
81.5. 81.5. The other one we have 80. But now hapa tunaweka nini? 7.5, giving us
82.25.
82.25. So next we have let me just do this so that I can just change. So this one we have, so here I put 10. So this is 83.
Yes.
And here I put 12.5, giving us
83.75.
93.
83.75.
83.75, thank you. Then here it's 15.
84.5.
84.5. And finally here you have 20.
86.
86. So which one is optimal? The question was asking about using pure, determine the optimal level of debt. We are happy when the value is the highest, right?
Yes.
So the debt level that gives us the highest value is, don't read this. They're asking about the optimal level of debt. So the optimal debt level is the debt level that offers either the highest WSEC, the highest value of the firm or the lowest WSEC. Our aim is to maximize the value and minimize the return. So for the 4 marks, the optimal debt level equals to shillings 20 million. Document that. So you can go to part 3. So part 3 are asked, evaluate the firm's optimal capital structure when financial distress costs are included. The firm's optimal capital structure. Now, the financial distress cost being included again, remember kuna debt. So here, let's put, allow me to copy this column. You'll also do the same from your end. And I know that now the value of the levered firm would be equals to value of unlevered plus the value of debt times tax rate. Then we subtract present value of expected future financial distress costs.
Again.
Right? So the figures are in millions, of course. So with the first level of debt, the value of unlevered firm, tunaanza na hii. So I can actually take this one. Niilete hapa. Alafu hapa niongeze. There's a catch in this question. You see the probability. Hapa uzuri ni 0. Present value of future financial distress cost is 8 million. So times the probability. Probability ya kwanza ni 0. So plus 8 times 0. So I know this answer will remain 80.75. Right? Tunaenda kwa ya pili. So ya pili, we start from here. Then we add the present value of future financial distress costs was 8. Was it 8 or 80? 8. And the probability is 1.25. Now, it takes us back to the Sharia of probability. Anytime we are dealing with probabilities, they should always be in a decimal, not percentage. So hapa wametupea kama percentage. So kindly, probability should always be expressed as a decimal. So like this one, 1.25 divided by 100 becomes 0.0125, right? So that one times 0.0125. Kindly, hiyo ndio ilinyorosha watu kwa hiyo swali. So simply take 81.5 plus 8 times this, you get?
81.6.
81.6.
I have a question. Should it be +8 or -8?
Wow, minus. Thank you. Minus. I subtract basi tupate the correct one.
81.4.
81.4, thank you. The new ya tatu, value of unlevered plus the VD of tax rate, we have it here, the debt of 7.5. Then we simply add the present value of future financial distress cost, which is 8, With less, not with add. I'm falling in love with addition. So probability hapo ni ngapi this time round? I think 0.025.
Yes.
Kindly, probability should be expressed as a decimal, which would give us
82.05.
82.05. With the date of 10 million, we start with this one. Then we less 8 times probability yake. Is it 0.0625?
Yes.
0.0625, giving us how much?
82.5.
82.5. With 12.5, we have this, which comes here. Then we less 8 times the present value, 12.5. Is it 0.125?
Yes.
0.125, giving us
82.75.
82.75. 2 to go. With 15, we start from here. Alafu tuongeze 8 times the probability ya hiyo. Is it 0.3125? 0.3125, giving us
82.
82 flat.
Yes.
Great. Finally, date of 20 million. We are having that. Alafu tunaongeza, tuna subtract. Hapa tulikuwa subtract, I'll adjust that. So minus 8 times, finally the probability of 75%, that is 0.75. Giving us ngapi?
80.
80 million. And now the question was asking, evaluate the firm's optimal capital structure. So which parties are optimal? When the debt is? Which level of debt financing?
The last one is 74.
How much?
74.
74. 74 iko wapi?
It's actually 80. It's there on my side.
Aha. 80 unanyoroshwa.
Nimeconfirm it's 80.
Oh, hii ya mwisho.
Yes.
Thank you. So iko sawa?
Yeah.
Thank you. So which one is our optimal level of debt? Someone? Najua mwingine anataka kwenda kupika.
12.5.
I think 12.5.
Yes.
The level that maximizes the value. But now the question did not ask about the optimal debt level. The question asked about the optimal capital structure. Capital structure is the values of debt and equity. So optimal capital structure optimal capital structure equals debt of shillings 12.5 million and equity of shillings. How much is our equity when debt is 12.5? A smart guess. 82.75. Is it? Minus what?
Minus 12.5.
Minus 12.5. Because 82.75 is a component of debt and equity. So equity is of how much?
70.25.
70.25 million. So that is our optimal capital structure. So that is our 8 marks, just like that. Any swali? There is no question, then I think that brings us to the end of capital structure theories. So I want us to stop there. So that next class we'll start with the special topics. Special topics in financing. Special topics in financing. So let's do the special topics next week, God willing. Thank you so much for joining. At least the day was not in vain.
You too.
And I can stop sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. See.
Good.